where transaction, trading goes on between existing shareholders. So this company I talked about has been in the market, but because we have different liquidity needs, different needs for money, I decided that this company that I bought when it was 2 naira, now it's 3 naira, I need money to do whatever I want to do, I want to sell. Somebody else is out there who feels that when this company came on through the primary market, I didn't have money at the time. But now I have the opportunity to buy, even though it's at a higher price. I see the potential, so I buy. So the money exchange hands between the two investors. So this is how it works. The primary market, the instrument is created and it goes to for sales and all of that. You can see the chart there. I don't want to bore you too much with technicalities. And the secondary market. So for the secondary market, there is what is called the stock exchange. In Nigeria, it's called the NGX. You know, it used to be called the Nigeria Stock Exchange, where stocks that you bought are traded on a daily basis. Every day you go to the market and you're able to sell or buy your shares. And there's what is called the OTC. So some companies are not necessarily on the exchange, but you've invested in them and you need your money. There's a market for it, like the NASD, where you can trade some of those transactions, some of those securities. Again, this is a chart just bringing out the functionality of how the market works. Now I'm going to talk about the key people that play in the capital market. Investors, that's you and I. You want to invest, you are the investor. If you're buying stock, they say you are the stock, ordinary stockholder or the equity holder. If it's bond, the bond holder and all of that, you and I partaking there as investors. The brokers are the intermediaries that you go through. You want to buy stocks now, you cannot buy necessarily directly yourself. Even though some firm now provides online platform where you can make your transaction on your phone and it hits the NGX system and it purchases stock for you. But still, you're not buying directly. It's going through an intermediary. The depositories are those that keep your investment secured, keeps a record of your investment. So back in the days, there used to be share certificates, but now you don't. The market doesn't use share certificate because of advancement technology. The record of your shareholding is kept in a depository, so you get something like the CSCX. I've talked about the stock exchange, and of course the regulator, SEC. They're the one who give us the license to operate after doing a thorough research on us. And part of the things they go into, which Mr. Kamali mentioned, is our track record. That's the individuals behind the company, and even your physical office. So I remember when I was setting up Mythical Capital, they had to visit my office. They need to be sure, because part of the Ponzi scheme back in the days was that you would find somebody who opened a temporary shop and collect money from people. The next day you go there, there's nothing happening there anymore. But the SEC goes round now, or since forever, for those that are the license, they make sure that you have a physical office and they can track you. Not only the managers like myself, but even the directors of the company. They need to know your credibility, and of course you provide document to show what your track record, where you have been before getting to that point. The investment managers are people like me and my friend there. Registrars and of course banks know what they do. So those are some of the capital market operators. So I'm going to the capital market product now. Equities, that's shares. This is the most common one, I think. You see a bank, First Bank, this bank is looking good, I'm going to invest in it. You know, you have to, but of course I told you that you don't make decisions based on what you see alone. you need to ask an expert for the underlying details of those companies, things that you may not see readily. So these are some of the companies that are listed in Nigeria, and of course I just chose a few across sector. The debt security, these are usually called bonds, and it can be issued by corporate or sovereign. So the federal government of Nigeria may need money to say we want to construct maybe a new campus, a new road, or whatever, social infrastructure. And the government doesn't have money, so they come to the public and borrow, guaranteeing you some rates as interest that will be paid over X period. That's debt, and it's called bond. Again, private companies can do that. What is important when you're investing in bond is to look at the credit rating of the issuer, because that gives you an idea whether they'll be able to pay you back your money. Because for debt, the investment horizon is quite long. You're looking at 10 years, 20 years, sometimes 30 years or more. So you need to know what you're investing in per time. These are other examples of debt securities: lease, term loan that you get in the bank, commercial paper. Well, you can argue this is not, it can be argued that some of these instruments are money market instruments, but these are investments that you'll be exposed to when you go out there. So, and I will take your questions if you want to know the details about the treasury bills, euro bonds, and all that. Other capital market products include commodities. Nigeria now has viable commodities exchanges. So there's the Agric exchange, you can trade gold as a commodity and all of that in Nigeria today. So that's part of the capital market. And then of course, Forex. Some of you do Forex, where you use one currency to buy another. The new trend we're seeing in Nigeria is that you're using Naira to buy Naira, so. And then there's derivatives. Again, I don't want to go into the detail, but derivatives are instruments that derive value from the underlying asset. I won't bore you so much with that. Now, when you talk about asset classes in investment, there are two. What is called the traditional asset classes and the non-traditional. The traditional are the one that we all know. We are talking about equities, fixed income, and money market. Every day you're exposed to those ones. But there's the non-traditional asset class. So we're talking about real estate, we're talking about private equity, we're talking about digital assets. And I was careful when I was putting this down to call it digital assets and not cryptocurrency. And I hope you won't ask me a question on cryptocurrency. And then there's commodities and all of that. Those are other options of investing in the capital market. But just to break it down so that you don't make some of the mistakes that I got from the questions that were asked about investing in the company, and it goes on that you need to know your risk. There are two things that are important in investing: risk and return. Generally, there's a rule of thumb that says the higher the risk, the higher the return. Right? But sometimes you don't just take it on the surface. It is calculated risk we're talking about. So somebody says, give me money, I would return it to you in 7 days and you get 50% return. That's not risk, it's stupidity, it's greed, like has been established. That's greed. Because you need to know what are you going to do with that money that will make you get far more than 50%. Because if you're promising me 50%, it means that you're making some money for yourself. So what are you going to do? So here, I've talked about, I highlighted some capital market instruments and looked at their risk and return profile. So if you're investing in commercial paper, CP, which is very common these days, you see a lot of it out there, you need to know that because the tenure of commercial papers are short, the risk is usually said to be short. when it's long and the risk looks like it's long, because it means that within 250 days, 180 days, they can pay you back your money. As against someone saying that, give me this money, I'll pay you back in 10 years' time. You know, so the risk can be low and the return low as well. For bond, the risk, depending on who issued the security, it can be low or high, depending on the entity. If it's a government, a sovereign bond, you can say that the risk is slightly low because it may mean that the government will be able to pay back. You know, the government may be able to pay back by issuing more money or something like that. But of course, we've seen examples in what is going on in Ghana at the moment where sovereigns are not able to pay. The same thing with treasury bills. These are issued by government. And Eurobond is investing in dollars. Even though you're in Nigeria, you can invest in dollar. So Eurobond is fixed income that is issued outside the country, outside the currency of that country. So the currency for Nigeria is Naira, and Eurobonds are issued in dollars mostly. Equities, stocks. The return for equities can be very good. You can buy a stock today, at the end of 3 months, you're making 60-30% return. But you can also lose your money. And in fact, as somebody has established, you can lose your entire investment. So the risk is high, and the return is, you know about real estate and all of that. So the importance of the capital market is that it finances the economy. It allocates risk and return. Like I said, you need money, the capital market is where to go to. It acts as a medium where funds can be transferred from those who have disposable income to those who need the money to grow their businesses. And of course, it facilitates trading of securities. What a smart investor should do, just a quick one, is understand that every investment has risk. Don't go and invest because we're talking about capital market and the capital market operators are screened by SEC, meaning that you should go and invest thinking that you're not going to lose money. Every investment has an element of risk. That's why the Security Exchange Commission will not allow any of us to guarantee you return. We can tell you these are the kind of return you will get, but there's nothing like guarantee the capital market. It helps with diversification, so don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you're investing, you may want to put some in stocks, some in money market, and like Mr. Kamali also said, you can invest in collective investment scheme, meaning that I'm pooling the money of so many people together, and I can invest in various asset classes so that if one is not doing well, the other is doing. You also have to be patient. You can't make money quickly, and you have to be disciplined. I'm rushing now because I'm told my time is up. Okay, so I talked here about how to identify fake market capital operators, but I'll skip this because he's done a good job of speaking to that, how you identify them if you go to SEC website. And like I said, sometimes the website may not even work. You have to be patient. Check again. Write to SEC. Make inquiries about the individual. Visit their physical office if you may. You need to do all of this so that you don't lose your money. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all from me. Thank you very much.
Please put your hands together for Mrs. Belgore. We are going to take 2 questions, and I think I have 2 already, but we'd like to add another, because I think he's a student. Okay, we take class first.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nancy Timothy. I'm representing my boss, the head of systems unit, Treasury Department. Please, I have 2 questions to ask. The first one is, you said if we want to invest, we could go through a finance body, especially those that are good in shares and all that. And then what happens if that body suddenly has issues with SEC and is no more? How do you get your money back? For instance, I remember as a student in the Polytechnic in Calabar, there was a period that shares were, booming, and we bought shares through a company called Divine Finance in Calabar. And then suddenly we can't find the finance company again. Your shares, certificate, everything, most of them are there. But you can't locate any of these things. Please, what do we do? And then again, you said, when you want to invest, it is good to look at a company that has collective investment scheme, like into agriculture, real estate, and all that. Suddenly, and recently, a company came into you. Maybe let me just mention the name, Oxford Group, and they asked people to invest, and people invested. And right now, as we speak, there's a whole lot of issues with people that invested in Oxford Group because they gave a period of time investment rates. In such a situation, please, what do we do? How do we get these monies back? Because we understand that SEC was aware that that company existed, and right now there's a lot of issues with people's investment. Thank you.
I should take those, right? Okay, thank you very much. Now, to your first question, which is what happens to your investment if the firm itself that you've gone through goes under? Well, what you're doing basically is you're not investing in that company through that's the market intermediaries, what we call the capital market operators. When you invest through a capital market operator like Utica, like Mabu, and all of that, you're not investing in my company. You're investing through me. So if it is stocks, for instance, that I'm buying for you, there's evidence of that with the CSCS because they have gone through the stock exchange and all of that. Yeah. And even if it's collective investment scheme, there are several parties to it. But let me deal with the stocks. If the firm that invests through then goes on that, your shares are still with CSCS. So what SEC will do, and I think Mr. Kamali will speak further on that, is to appoint a new stockbroker. When they take the license off, they will of course deal with the firm and remove the license and all of that. But you still have access to your investment. All you need to do is go through another stockbroker. You go through another stockbroker, you provide evidence of your investment through this house. And if that house is no longer in existence, they go to CSCS and they write some letters on your behalf and all of that, which you don't need to worry about. So that's why it's very important for you to keep evidence of your transaction. Don't trade in just trust. And I'm giving you money, there's no certificate, there's no any receipt and all of that. You have to keep all those. So you never lose your money if you invest through a genuine house. The house can have problem, but your investment can intact. Now when it's collective investment scheme, there are several parties in a collective investment scheme. The fund manager is me, the capital operator, that has brought the funds together. But there's what is called the trustee, there's custodian, there's registrar, and there's SEC that oversees what all of us do. So every quarter we have to give a report of how we're doing to the Securities Exchange Commission. Now, if the fund manager, which is the one that interacts with you, goes under, the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, will appoint another fund manager. But your assets are not even with the fund manager in the first instance. Because when you're paying, you will know that you're not paying to the fund manager. For instance, if I have a money market fund, let's say Utica money market fund, I'm not saying paying to Utica Capital Limited account. You're paying to a custodian account that will create. So that custodian account means that the money is not coming directly to you, it goes to a custodian who makes sure that when I'm taking the money, I'm using it for what I said I would use the money for. I'll buy stocks, I would buy debt, bonds, and all of that. When I buy those things, they are also not kept in my name so that I can go out and start feeling big that I have those security. It is kept in the name of a party called the trustee. So you can see that I'm just there doing the middleman job of coordinating all of this. Your assets are with the custodian, the trustee in this case. And if the fund managers goes on that, the trustee just, the said, just appoint a new fund managers and business continues. And if you have other concerns about that, if you have those kind of investment and you have not found your money, then there are ways we can have those discussions and help you track them. If you invest to a genuine second investor. The Oxford Group is something that is on the table of Mr. Kamali. They want to talk about it. But like I said, you just need to do those due diligence. For an investor, I've told you that the capital market can make you one of the wealthiest people in the world. But you don't just put your money and go to sleep, right? You have to do your homework. So you can't be an investor, a good investor, and be lazy. You need to read those documents. There are all sorts of documents that are presented before you invest. Read them. If you don't understand, ask a professional to break it down for you. You understand? And then curb your greed. Manage your return expectations. But I think that on the specific firm, I don't know their business, and I don't think they're registered by SEC, but he will be able to speak to that one.
Tell me to add to it. Let me just add a please.
Thank you very much, Amasi and Jan. Very cool. I want to share civic. You mentioned depositors or depository that they new technology and so on. So why do you still have to go through a stockholder? If that is true, can we check out share certificate directly from either the website or portal, and then know what to do rather than see going through a stockholder? Because sometimes you pay money, and these are investments that you don't like the bank share. We don't even benefit from it. He invites you, your certificate that you have to pay money. Why should I pay? Like the one at Clarence Trust, he will invite you when you go, you pay this money. I have not even gained from investment, and I'm going to pay again. So when you don't link that to the equation of the lady, share certificate and the deposit, and it's a new technology. How do you gain from it? Thank you.
Okay, you're working.
Thank you very much. Again, the people that are licensed, the professionals are paid to do this thing. It is just like saying that you have money in the bank. You have money, your money is in the bank. Why do you need to go to an ATM to take your money or something? Or to go to the bank to take your money? Or you have provided the handout, why do I need to come to lecture room? Or meet with the lecturer? You understand? There are people that are placed there to be an intermediary. You cannot have direct, there are situations where you can have direct access to your stock holdings on what is called a special account. I think there's still special account. But that is a sophisticated level. Even at that, you're paying to keep that account, to have a special account. But at the basic level, you have to go through a stockbroker. And the only time the stockbroker charges you, it's when they're providing you a service. So, an instance, you go to them with your certificate and you say, this is my certificate, I need it converted to electronic form, right? They're providing a service and they have to charge for it. What's the service? They have to go to the registrar of that company, who will destroy your certificate, who will put that information into their system and destroy the physical certificate that then goes to the CSCS. Now, they have to send someone from their office who will do the transportation and all of that. So the money they take from you is insignificant compared to the value that you get. Because when you go to the registrar's office, you will see loads of people there. Sometimes you feel that it's not worth your time. How much do you want to claim that you have to wait hours and all of that? So that's the bridge, the value that the intermediaries provide in those cases. And I don't think the fees are anything significant.
All right. My name is Sonde Akwan from the Active Health Insurance and Risk Management Department. I want to ask my question concerning insider trading and front running. A case involving one known leading shareholder in a named financial institution, which I don't want to mention, is reported to have lost about 41 million naira in 2 months due to insider trading activity. My question is, what is the SEC doing, or what are the strategies or plans that the SEC is having to check insider trading? Second, I know that the central bank, as at far back 2017, has not, I don't know whether they have recently accepted, what we call cryptocurrency or digital currency as a form and means of exchange in Nigeria. But when you were presenting, I heard you mention cryptocurrency as one of the investment. I will ask why.
On the question of insider trading, is a big deal in the capital market, and the SEC is very, very thorough on that. They investigate companies for insider trading and all. And I know quite a number of firms and investors that have been disciplined. And in fact, for some of us operators that have been barred from operating in the market because of insider trading. But again, that's on the purview of the regulator. He called me, it's like calling earlier, he's my regulator, so they deal with us. The fear of SEC is the beginning of wisdom for proper investment operators in Nigeria. And we try to comply. There are all sorts of rules that guide our operation. That is why my kind of business is not very attractive as a Ponzi scheme. Because the things I have to go through, I can't promise you those kind of unrealistic returns, because there are people watching over my back, looking at what I'm doing and all that, to make sure that my business is genuine, and to a large extent, the investment of the retail, more importantly, the retail investor is secured. So all of these are under the purview of SEC, and I'm sure that they will want to speak more to that. The second question, I said you shouldn't ask me a question on cryptocurrency. But I didn't even get your question. Why invest in crypto? Is that your question?
What I said is that I'm aware that as a Papa the central bank has not accepted cryptocurrency, or is what Bitcoin as part of
the treasury instrument in Nigeria. But when you were presenting, you made mention of cryptocurrency, right?
I mentioned digital.
Digital. So, digital wallet, at least crypto something, Bitcoin is still part of it. So, why you still would suggest that we invest on that?
Okay, I didn't suggest that you invest in cryptocurrency. And by the way, I'm not giving any investment advice. I'm opening your eyes to investment opportunity. Because investment is personalized. What is good for you may not be good for the next person because of return expectation, risk appetite, and it's how long you can hold on the investment for. So let's get that clear. Secondly, cryptocurrency is a reality, whether you want to accept it or not. People are investing in it all over the world. In Nigeria, it is not allowed. And the reason is that the regulators are being careful. Our investment environment is not sophisticated. We don't understand buying stocks to a large extent. We're talking about doing ETF, and then we're still trying to understand ETF. You're telling me that there's a currency that you can use that is not naira and all that. I mean, look at the situation we find ourselves now. You actually have fiscal cash in the bank that you can't take. So until that information, regulators have enough information on how to make sure that you are protected when you invest in this thing. They don't want to open it up in Nigeria. That doesn't mean that there are people who are not finding ways around investing in it. And digital currency is not necessarily bad, but it's understanding it that is important. The richest man in the world, the richest investor in the world, who once was the richest man in the world, Warren Buffett, says that he has a simple rule: invest in what you know, what you understand. And so for him, he wasn't going to invest in cryptocurrency because he feels that it doesn't make sense. That does not mean that there are not millions of people who have made money. But in the Nigerian capital market, I don't think it's accepted yet to invest in cryptocurrency. And you have to be a bit more sophisticated to do those kind of transactions. Right? Thank you.
My name is Gordon, a 300 level student of accounting department. You made mention of the importance of the capital market, and one of it was it financed the economy. At the beginning of this seminar, it was very stated that the capital market, or in general, the financial market, is a barometer used in measuring the performance of the country's economy. So does that mean that the downtrend of the Nigerian economy is the after effect of the capital market or the Nigerian financial market in general?
That's a brilliant question. So we all have roles to play. What we're saying is, if you remember the way I defined the market in late time, I said it was a place where those who need money meet those who have money. So we know that there's a lot of, in fact, that's part of why the CBN is doing the currency redesign and all of that. Because they feel that there's lots of money in the informal sector. When money is in the informal sector, it is not driving the economy. You understand? It was only recently, maybe 2-3 years ago, that the MTNs and Airtels were listed on the exchange, so you can now trade on those things. But there are a whole lot of more companies that need long-term financing. Instead of you going to the bank and taking loan at very high rates, you want to take a loan, some banks are telling you bring 25%, bring 30%. How much money are you going to make for you to still pay those returns? But in the capital market, the financing is cheaper depending on the options that you're looking at, and the tenure is longer. So if more companies come to the capital market, the economy can do better because it means that you have access to funding, so your business can grow in scale. When your business grows in scale, you can employ more people spend more, and you can see the circle goes on, the economy thrives because of that. So that's the point I was trying to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Mr. Belgore. I believe